me, Josh, and Lily.
Hello.
So, talk us through what happened with the Charlotte Edwards Cup. I dare say I am quite happy with the result, but talk us through it.
Yeah, so the last time we chatted about it, it was up to finals time, and we weren't sure who was going to be making the finals, but it ended up being the Southeast Stars and the Central Sparks in the semi. Central Sparks, they only had to chase down 105, so they did make it look a little bit tricky, but it was good they ended up winning. Southeast Stars got off to a really tough start. Bryony Smith, Ailish Cranstone both going for none, and Sophia Dunkley 5 and Alice Capsey 6. So really struggled to get a move on there, but then Alice Davidson Richards just started scoring, which was what they needed really. But then Eve Jones 29, Izzy Wong 11, Amy Jones 17. So good performances there. Solid batting all round. Emily Arlett right down the order got 16 not out. So little moment there to really accelerate the runs. But yeah, look, it was a good game, all up by the Sparks. And then on to the grand final, where it was Sparks versus Vipers. And to no surprise, really, Southern Vipers were the winners by 25 balls still in hand. Charlie Dean, player of the match, 2 for 19. Yeah, it was kind of reversed roles in this one. The Central Sparks struggled to actually start up, really. So, yeah, quite disappointing. Eve Jones, 6. Izzy Wong, 2. Amy Jones got 27. Abigail Freeborn got 18. But other than that, no other big performances, really. So, yeah, a bit disappointing. But from a Vipers fan perspective, I guess that was probably the ideal final. And I think it's funny that it's the Charlotte Edwards Cup and Charlotte Edwards won it.
That is definitely very ironic.
Mm-hmm.
But no, very good tournament, as it is always.
Yeah, it's good to see. But moving on, we have a guest this week.
Yes, we do.
So we spoke to Melbourne Renegades batter, ex-Australian batter, and also AFLW Hawks footballer,
Yes.
Jess Duffin.
Yes, it was really awesome to talk to Jess about the juggles of cricket life and football life right now for her. Very interesting to talk to her about that. She doesn't know what the future holds. Yeah, let's jump straight into it.
Yeah, so enjoy our interview with Jess Duffin.
It's Bish, and the catch is taken. Duffin coming forward. She had it covered comfortably.
Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Can you just talk to us a little bit about where you are at the moment and where you're kind of at? I know it's off season, but where you're kind of at with your cricket.
Obviously it's a bit unknown at the moment. Everything with the CBA obviously just coming out with footy, things happening in the cricket space. It's a little bit unknown. I think it's more unlikely than likely that I'll be playing both this season, just given the fixture and things like that. So, which is a little bit disappointing. Didn't really want to have to choose, but I suppose it means that women's sport is in a really good place if I'm having to decide which one I'm going to play. So, as I said, disappointing for me personally, but as a whole sport, it's really exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely women's sport, especially with the expansion of the AFLW teams, and now that WNCL is going for a bit longer season as well. So it is an exciting time. How did you, before this, now that you probably have to choose, did you really have to juggle anything? Was it kind of good that it kind of happened in separate seasons?
No, there was still plenty of juggling because the previous seasons I've been doing AFLW pre-season and obviously playing Big Bash. So, there's been obviously some times where it's been really difficult and other times there's been kind of clear space between them. So I probably think it's the last maybe 3 or 2 seasons that definitely have crossed over in terms of pre-season as well as playing. But yeah, it's been a challenge at times.
And obviously we do talk about cricket on this podcast. So for those who may not know, could you explain kind of when the AFL season lies and, what you're kind of involved in within the football world? Yeah,
so obviously footy now falls in that August, September window in terms of playing, but pre-season starts early June. So for those that aren't aware, I guess the WNCL and the Big Bash kind of all takes off around that same time in June, in terms of training and pre-season and all the running and conditioning you have to do and stuff like that. That also falls in that period. So, it's probably going to be more difficult for players to do both as time goes on, I guess. And if footy stays where it is, which obviously we've fought so hard to get it into that time slot, so I don't see it moving in the next few years. It's going to be very difficult to play both cricket and footy, which, as I said before, it's a really good thing for women's sport, because it means that we're being paid properly, and we don't have to rely on the two incomes to make a living.
100%. That's the main thing, which is fantastic. It's good to see that happening finally.
Yeah. Took a while, but we're there.
And do you have, obviously you have played professional football and cricket. So is there anything that maybe you've noticed while playing football that you kind of think that cricket could learn from, whether it's, about promotion or anything like that?
I actually think footy did all its learning from cricket, and how they tackled it. So obviously they've moved the season now so that it doesn't fall in a time where it's chaotic in terms of sport. So in January, I guess you've got the Australian Open, you've got the men's cricket. There's a few other things happening in that space at the same time. So they've tried to move away from that. But yeah, I think both sports at the moment are doing it really well in terms of trying to promote their athletes and promoting their story, because I think that's the biggest thing in women's sport in general is people just assume that we have the same lifestyle as what the men might have in terms of money they're making or sacrifices they're making compared to the sacrifices we're making. So we're in a very, I'm not complaining at all. I think I'm in a very privileged position where I'm playing both sports and I'm getting paid to do something that I really love. But yeah, just in terms of, part-time, we've been part-time for so long, we're juggling uni and things like that, or another, like I'm working part-time, so another job in that time. So yeah, I think I've been very fortunate to be in the position I am, but at the same time, it's a very different looking lifestyle, I guess, than a male athlete.
Yeah, definitely.
That's one of the huge things, is that you look at like the Australian players and they just get to play cricket all year round virtually, and they're making their money off of that. So what do you do as your job, and how are you able to fit that in and balance that between the two sports?
Yeah, so again, I've been very lucky. I've actually just started doing some real estate. So my workplace is really good in terms of me having to leave early, or I'm currently part-time because I've obviously got Georgie as well. So my main concern at the moment is Georgie and making sure that I'm looking after her before anything else. And if that needs to change down the track because she's not getting something, then, as a mother, it's always you put your child first. So I'm very, very lucky in terms of my workspace at the moment that they're so supportive of that. And then I worked for a car dealership down here in Werribee as well. So they were extremely good. They were with me pretty much from when I was 19. So all the way through when I was playing for Australia and obviously playing Big Bash and the start of my AFLW career. So they were very, very, I guess, what's the word? They looked after me basically to let me do that. And if I didn't have a workplace like that, as you probably know, in the women's space, a lot of girls have to drop either sport or work. So I was very lucky to have it all.
And that's really good that, in real estate, good spot to be in at the moment. So it's that's great that your work has been able to help you and, like you said, look after you. And I think that's good that workplaces are doing that, because they realise how important sport is and how much it's growing. So that's really good to hear that, and it gives people some hope, I guess. Like, oh, cool, there is a chance, which is good.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, if you've got that right balance, it makes playing sport a hell of a lot easier. So it takes the pressure off then thinking that you don't have a job when you get back from interstate or whatever it might be, especially when I was playing for Australia, thinking that when you get home from a tour, they realise that actually this isn't a good idea and they get rid of you. But I was very, very lucky.
Now, you mentioned Georgie before as well. So you took a bit of a break in WBBL 06 when there was the hub. Can you talk to us a little bit about why you kind of chose to step back there?
Yeah, I think she was 4 months old for a start. So to get her into the hub, there was going to be obviously COVID testing. It was very strict back then, so she would have been COVID tested just as much as all of the players and support staff. Just being in a bubble where I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to go to a chemist to get her anything if something came up. So all the stresses of making sure she was okay would have put pressure on me to think that then I had to go and play, knowing that she wasn't being looked after properly. By being in the hub or whatever it might be. My husband couldn't come the whole time because he was obviously working from home as a school teacher, so we weren't sure when schools were going to go back. There was a lot to play out in that space, and I just thought my body as well just wasn't 100%. And if my body wasn't 100% and I was still trying to be in a hub, do all those things, be restricted a little bit, I just couldn't put that pressure on my family to then have to come with me to put me through that. So like I said before, Georgie's number one, and I just didn't feel like she was old enough to handle being in a hub at that point.
100%. And you see it now, and now it's almost becoming a normal thing.
Correct. And I had to do the 2-week hub in Tasmania as well, the start of last season. So we went through that. My husband came down for that 2-week period just for Hobart to do the quarantining with me, so that I could still obviously train when we had to and stuff like that, and make sure Georgie was looked after. So that was, it was 2 weeks, and that was tough. So I can't even imagine what the 8 weeks was like for the group before. So I'm kind of glad that I made that decision.
Yeah, and it's good that it's becoming normal now, and there's protocols and stuff in place, because it's very hard thing. I'm a dad of almost 3-year-old now, and it's just, like you said, they come first.
Yeah, definitely.
Then you joined back in the next season that just passed, and you brought her with you. So what was that like, and how did the team, because I saw there was lots of pictures, and how did the team did they help out in any way?
Oh yeah, 100%. That the Renegades were extremely good to me in terms of trying to help me out and making sure I was well looked after. Obviously, like I said, I did the 2 weeks of quarantining with my husband, then he left, so I had 6 weeks where I was on my own with Georgie. And kudos to those single parents out there, because it is a tough gig when you don't have that support network. So the Renegades were really good. They made sure Georgie was okay. We got a babysitter, everything like that. And then obviously going around to hotels and stuff, sometimes there wasn't cooking facilities and stuff like that. So just trying to make sure that we had the right nutrition for Georgie to start with. And then I kind of worried about myself after that. They were really good at trying to help facilitate that. So the girls loved it. They treated her like their own daughter. So I'll be forever grateful for the Renegades and the squad that was with me while I was doing that, because they were just, they were great. And even the other clubs, whenever we had to fly and we were on a plane with another team, they were always really good with Georgie. So which I was stressing out about, because you're the first thing you think about is when you get on a plane is, where's that kid? And I don't want to sit next to them. So I was very grateful for the whole competition to make sure we were looked after.
Did you kind of chat to Leah and Amy a bit as well?
Yeah, definitely. I was spewing they went there the last season, just to have that little friend for Georgie. But look, they were great as well. Obviously they were with me the year before when I found out I was pregnant too. So they've been really, really good. We're really good friends, so I speak to them all the time now. We're always FaceTiming with the kids and stuff like that, and I'm hoping to get over to New Zealand probably the end of this year. So again, like, just to have those two to be able to message and be able to kind of lean on and ask questions, because obviously there's only, I think, 6 months between Georgie and Gracie, so anything Georgie was going through, they'd already gone through it, which was nice. So they give me tips and everything like that. So definitely helpful.
Great support network. That's fantastic. How old's Georgie now?
She's 2 at the end of this month.
Oh, good times.
Well, she's terrible too, but
Right.
So you were signed with the Stars for WBBLO2, and then the season after that you then signed with the Renegades and you've been with them since. So I
Yep.
guess for a lot of people, moving teams is quite a big deal, but you moved still within the state. So was it,
Yep.
I guess, because you weren't with the Stars for too long. So what was the move kind of like in between the two clubs there?
It was pretty easy actually. I didn't have a great year with the Stars, so I think it became really mutual that we just kind of parted ways. I don't think they were going to necessarily need me for the next season. So yeah, I think anytime a team doesn't necessarily need you or want you is pretty confronting. But yeah, very lucky that the Renegades were happy to sign me and I could continue playing.
How would you say to people that to get back from it, if you know what I mean? Like, say they're going through it, like for the first time, almost like that cut, and then to get back to it.
Yeah, I guess, as I said, it's very confronting when you want to continue playing and the club that you're playing for at that particular time doesn't necessarily want you. My thing is if you feel like you aren't done, it means you're not done. If anyone tries to tell you that you're done and you're not ready to be done, you're definitely not done. And my thing is, well, you've got to go out there and just put all that aside. But even though you probably, to prove someone wrong is probably not the right way to go about it, but I certainly went out there with kind of a fire in the belly to make sure that the next season I was obviously doing everything I could to get back into a team. But yeah, my theory is if you're not ready to go, generally you're probably not ready to go, and to keep kind of getting through it. It's a tough period of time. I was dropped from the Australian team too when I was in that team, and yeah, I guess it keeps you honest a little bit, makes you think about what you need to improve on or how you can get better. So at the end of the day, it's probably not a bad thing if you get a little kick up the bum. But yeah, I'd certainly be like, if you're not ready, then can't see why the people have to tell you that you're ready.
And you mentioned your Australian career there. So you made your ODI debut in 2009 against New Zealand. You made your Test debut in 2011 against England. What do you remember from that? Do you remember any details about that game at all?
From both debuts or just the one against England?
Well, either, if you remember either of them.
My debut in New Zealand, I had to keep because our keeper, Jodie, can't remember actually what her last name was at that time. I think it was
Fields.
Fields, was it Fields back then? Yeah. Jodie Fields, she did an injury, a quad injury, which meant that I was kind of next cab off the rank to keep, and I hadn't kept for years before that. So that was my first experience. And then I don't really remember too much about the Test match against England, only that the Governor General gave me my Test cap. And I think that must have been, I'm pretty sure it was we won in the second inning. I can't even really remember, because to be honest, the only thing I remember of it was my husband, who was my partner back then. They came and they started to stir up the English. So they put a pair in front of the English camp, because I think Hazel had got 2 ducks to her name. So he just put a little pair up there for her. So they were doing all the stirring up. That's all I can really remember. I can't really remember the game. I can remember what went on off the field. But yeah, that was a little bit funny. I kind of was, at the time I was a little bit angry, but looking back on it now, I kind of find it really funny.
Yeah. You made your Test debut alongside another one of our former podcast guests. Would you know who that is, or would you like to take a guess of who that is?
Alongside, so same team?
Yeah.
Or
you were cap 159 and she was 160.
Is it Sarah Coit?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we had pretty much the same question to her. I was like, do you remember your Test debut? And I was doing some research. I was like, oh, you did it together. So that was...
Yeah. No, Coitie's one of my best mates. So, yeah, like just playing for Australia, I've created so many like really good friends, and that's probably one thing that I will never take for granted, and feel like I owe Cricket Australia a little bit just for the friendships I made, because I still talk to a lot of those girls, and yeah, it's been really helpful to have them along my side for pretty much the last 10 and a bit years.
Now, you also played in a couple of World Cup games, one for with Australia. And I think what I remember is you being player of the match in the 2013 World Cup where you made 75. Yep. What was kind of going through your mind in that situation? Because, you know, you trying to win this grand final and scoring a big score like that. What was that like?
Again, I was very lucky. I was in the middle with Rachel Haynes for a fair bit of my innings. Obviously older and wiser and knows a lot more about cricket than I do, or I did at that time. So to have her there and bat with her, I just remember thinking, what is going on? Like, what is going on? I'm here. I'm in India. I'm playing 50 over cricket for my country. And yeah, just batting. I just felt like I was batting really well at the time. And Rach was batting really well at the other end. So I guess when someone else is batting just as well as you at the other end, it kind of helps form that partnership. And as soon as you get a partnership forming, batting becomes a really easy thing because I guess the opposition are trying to find ways to get you out. And sometimes that can be to your advantage. And I guess Rach and I kind of found that on the day. And then when I got out, all I could think of was there's one fielder out there and I've hit it down her throat. So I wasn't very happy with myself.
Well, I mean, you ended up getting player of the match. So it clearly, you know, in the moment you were thinking when you got out, you were like, oh no, I've ruined it. But then it turned out being the best performance in the night. So that must have been a bit of a relief to find that out.
Yeah. Oh, look, I was more shocked than anything. I think Elise Perry was bowling off one leg at the time. So I thought she might have been a good candidate for that. And yeah, as I said, Rach was batting really well too. So that I think just with that particular game, I think we were all so consistent. Like there was no one that kind of didn't do anything or could say that, you know, they don't feel worthy of the medal because they didn't do anything. I think we just had a whole complete team performance, which was really nice. But yeah, you kind of went so fast. I kind of look back on it now going like, I wish I had have, you know, celebrated a little bit more just because you never know when your last game is.
That's true. Yeah. Like that's a good point. Make every moment, I guess, like it's your last. Like yeah, that's really great.
Now, I guess going back to the very, very beginning of your cricket career, how did you kind of first pick it up and how did you first start playing?
It was my dad and my brother. So dad was playing local cricket. So was my brother. And I used to just love following my brother around. He'll always tell you that it was the worst thing in his life at the time was me following him around like, you know, his little shadow and him just, yeah, not wanting me around at all. But I used to just love being able to go down with him and dad to the nets and have a hit and really enjoyed playing alongside my brother at times. And yeah, I think we were fortunate enough as well to all play in a team later as we got a bit older. So yeah, it was those two that got me into it. And yeah, I think I just stuck with it because when you get good at something, you kind of like to keep going. So that's pretty much why I did it. I mean, I was playing Oz kick as well. So I was still doing both footy and cricket back then, even as a 6-7-year-old. But the pathways just weren't there in footy.
And growing up, what were your kind of aspirations at the time? Were you ever thinking like, I want to play cricket, or were you ever thinking I want to play football?
Not really. Like I think I just took anything I got as it came. Like I didn't think I would ever be playing for Australia. I didn't ever think I would be in a World Cup winning a player of the tournament or player of the match or anything like that. Never thought that would happen. Never thought I'd get a baggy green. Like I just didn't think any of that would happen. And because I think it happened so early as well, I was only 19 when I first played for Australia. So yeah, looking back now, I feel just so privileged that I even got the chance to be playing so young in such a good side. So yeah, it was kind of obviously never thought I'd be playing AFLW. Didn't even think that was going to be thought of by the time I hit 30. So yeah, you kind of looking back, I didn't even really think I would be playing for Australia. And I think I'm still pinching myself that I did because they were such a good team. And yeah, to even be able to play with the likes of Elise Perry, Meg Lanning, Shally Nitschke, Karen Rolton, Lisa Stalaker, like the people that I've got to play alongside of, it's been incredible.
That's some big That's a fantastic team to be a part of.
Yeah. So, very lucky. I feel very privileged, very lucky.
Did you have any specific maybe cricket role models growing up?
Yeah, Mel Jones was my cricket hero, I guess. I don't know. She knows it. I don't know if she believes it, but she definitely does know it. I just thought the way that, not only could she bat the house down, but she fielded, like I wanted to be just as good a fielder as Mel Jones. And always loved any time that I got to meet her or even got to watch her play. So again, very privileged that at the Vic Spirit I got to play alongside her.
Great cricketer, so can't fault you there at all.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a favourite cricket memory from any kind of format that you've played?
I think playing in a 50 over World Cup, winning that in 2013, and then the year before in 2012 we won that in Sri Lanka T20 World Cup. So they're probably two memories that I'll never forget. But it's like I said before, it's more the memories that you have off the field, the friendships I've made, the things I get to do. Like I get to travel and play in countries like India. I would never ever go to India had I not been traveling with cricket. So I feel very privileged that I got to do that. Got to go to Sri Lanka. Just the places it takes you. It's pretty incredible.
Do you have a favourite place you've gone?
The West Indies.
Yeah.
That was quite good. Definitely the West Indies. But that was kind of crazy.
Maybe for a different reason. No, cricket.
Like I said, it's all off field for me.
Now, if you had to say a favourite teammate that you've ever played with, who would it be and why?
Well, that's incredibly tough. Incredibly tough. Like I said before, Sarah Coit, like I am so grateful that I got to meet her. Just the friendships that I've made with her, the times we've had together. I spent, she was one of the ones that I got to spend a lot of time with, just purely because we always get to, we got room together a lot. So to be able to, be best mates with her, watch her evolve as a cricketer. I've just loved every moment with Coity, but it's an incredibly tough question. Like I said before as well, I just feel incredibly lucky to have so many people that I've met through cricket, and I'm still friends with today. So Molly Strano was one of my bridesmaids, and so was Elise Villani. So just in that, you can see the incredible friendships you make, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
who's been the bit of a pest?
Oh, pest. Meg Lanning can be quite a pest. She'll never admit it, but she can be. But biggest pest is Megan Shute for me. So
yeah.
So what's kind of next for you? Obviously, like you said, cricket pre-season is kind of starting a bit up now. Where are you kind of at, and what are your kind of goals?
I'll try and play cricket for as long as I can. I don't really have anything set at the moment, just purely because I don't know where I am, where I'm at with cricket. Conversations need to be had, and just with my family, because obviously we got Georgie, and we kind of want to start to build on that. So it just depends if everything fits in, and I can still play. But at the end of the day, family comes first for me. So whatever that looks like, we'll try and fit it all in. But might not be able to.
What's next for you footy wise? I think purple Guernsey would look very good on you, but we never.
I've just recently signed with the Hawks, so that's where I'll be this season. And again, I don't know how long I've got left in me with AFLW either, so I'll definitely be cherishing every game or every training session I have, because who knows what's going on next season.
Well, it's been amazing to watch you. I know I've definitely enjoyed watching you about over the years, and hopefully we get to see a bit more of that upcoming. But like you said, who knows? If it's kicking a football, it's kicking a football.
That's it. Who knows?
Well, we'll have to support Hawthorn, Lily, when we come down, if they play Adelaide or Port Adelaide down here. And we'll just have a Duffin sign. That'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I'm not one for football really, but I'll just kind of go wherever. I'm a bit
You'll
of a floater.
enjoy.
I'm a bit of a floater. So if you can convince me, I'll be there. So
I'll make sure to remember that if we get fixtured over there.
So we like to finish off our interviews by just doing some quick fire this or that.
Yep.
So this or that. So we'll go T20 or Test cricket.
T20.
Morning or night?
Morning.
Yeah.
Morning. Orange juice or apple juice?
Orange juice.
Yes, good choice. Good choice.
Beach or backyard cricket?
Backyard cricket.
Comedy or horror?
Comedy.
Comedy. Horror's getting no love. Oh,
No one said it.
no one wants to be scared these days. AFL or cricket? Here we go.
Yeah. Next.
I wanted to put it in there, see if we could get something, but that's all right.
Where's she gonna go? I think I know the answer to this one, but dog or cat?
Dog.
Yeah, I've seen the little guy.
Yeah, she's been across. Yeah.
Okay, so this is to 3 sixes to win a game or take a hat trick to win a game.
Oh, 3 sixes. Yeah,
3
definitely.
Sixes?
Yeah.
Yep. Either one, amazing.
Yeah.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your go-to pizza topping?
Oh, I'm a bit random. I'll have everything, but it has to have pineapple on it. Yeah.
Okay, and the last one, an important one, chocolate in the fridge or pantry?
I've had it in both, but probably the fridge.
Josh is eat his chocolate melted. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Fridge in the summer, cupboard in the winter.
There we go. That's all right.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I crack my teeth.
Yeah.
Starting to get cold here now, so we just all walk out and just start taking all the chocolate out and just putting it somewhere else for now.
Just go put it outside if you feel it.
Yeah.
That's all the questions we have. So thank you very, very much for jumping on and talking to us.
No worries.
Hopefully we can see you sometime. Who knows, playing something. But
yeah. Hopefully playing something. Yeah.
Playing something. But yeah, once again, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
It's up-ish and the catch is taken. Duffin coming forward. She had it covered comfortably.
Well, yeah, I think it was really interesting to hear the comparisons between the two sports, and to hear that she is going to have to choose is quite disappointing because she has been able to balance both of them for quite some time. I know that for quite a few players, once their cricket careers kind of ended, they moved over to football, like Brittany Perry and Jodie Hicks.
Yes.
So they're both now footballers in the AFLW. So, maybe it's time for Jess to do that as well. But look, she doesn't know. So I guess when she knows, we'll know as well. But look, we're hoping we can see her back out there for the Renegades next season.
Yeah, it will be a shame. She's a very good talent to cricket and AFL. So whatever she chooses to do, it will be a loss to the other. So Elise Perry had the same decision when she started her career. Really gladly she chose cricket, but she could have easily played successfully for Matildas. So unfortunately it has come down to that for Jess. But whatever she'll do, she'll be fantastic at it.
Yeah, it will definitely be an interesting one. But yeah, like I said, hopefully we can see her out there a bit longer in the red. But yeah, look, that was the interview with Jess Duffin. I think, again, a completely different perspective. Super interesting to hear from her. So grateful as always that she gave up her time, juggling, just coming home from work as well and looking after Georgie. So we're super thankful.
Yes, now very grateful and very, very insightful into her career, it was fantastic.
It was. But that is all for this week's episode. Next week, we are joined by our second Perth Scorcher and second Western Australian cricketer, Tanil Peschel. Now, Tanil is known by many for being very quiet and very reserved. It was so much fun talking to Tanil. I think it was actually one of our longest interviews yet, which was brilliant. She was super funny and she really talks about the struggles of playing cricket when you're not kind of enjoying the sport and how she took a break and picked herself back up into the sport and found her love for it again.
Mm-hmm.
Which is again something that people can learn a lot from, I think. And yeah, she also tells us some funny stories about pranks she's played, and all that kind of stuff. So that is definitely not one you want to miss out on. So that will be coming up next week. We will also talk about the men's Australia versus Sri Lanka games.
Yes.
So we will just kind of review over those next week. But yeah, that is all for this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, you can follow us on Instagram or Twitter at howsthattcp, or you can send us an email at howsthatthecricketpodcast@gmail.com. But that's all from me this week.
That's all from me, guys.
How's that?